Welcome back to part 12 of training muscle lengths, the lats. More people have requested the lats in this series than any other muscle, so ask and ye shall receive. And for those of you joining us for the first time, this series is in a playlist on my profile. Today we're talking about the latissimus dorsi, aka the lats. Of course, it's on both sides, but we just have it cut away on the right for this figure. The lats originate at the ilium, some of the lumbar and thoracic spine, the bottom three ribs, as well as the inferior angle of the scapula. And it inserts into the humerus, which we can't quite see in this figure. Basically just runs from the mid-low back to your upper arm, which means that it crosses the shoulder joint, if you remember this figure, and causes the humerus to move, but does not cross the joints within the shoulder girdle. The lat is a prime mover for extension and, of course, hyperextension, as well as adduction and medial rotation. But our main interests are adduction and extension. For the lat to be in its fully shortened position, it would have to be fully adducted as well as fully extended, which puts us into hyperextension. And then the opposite is true for its fully lengthened position, fully flexed as well as abducted. Remember, the lat does not cross the joints within the shoulder girdle, so our shoulder girdle movements figure here does not concern us. So we've got the lat fully extended here. Notice that the resistance is in front, not directly above him. If it were me, I'd prefer some sort of chest support to make this movement a little bit more stable. People are crazy about the kneeling variations, but if you're strong enough, it'll pick you right up off the ground. We're just using this image for the body position. Because that shoulder joint is fully flexed, but we don't have the scapward upward rotation to where his arm would be straight overhead. You can hit a similar position if you're lucky enough to have an OG Nautilus pullover, and a similar position at the top of something like a rope pullover, although a strict progression on something like this can get a little iffy. So we were fully lengthened while we were flexed and technically abducted, but this adduction actually matters a ton when we talk about our shortened position paired with extension. These two will play a huge role when we start talking about the other back musculature. Lats will be fully shortened if we are extended and adducted, aka our arms are at our side. Sort of a similar position on a dumbbell row to the hip. Like all muscles, the lat doesn't have much tension in its fully shortened position, which is why you'll see people focusing on mainly mid to lengthened position movements, like the lat pull variations that everybody's crazy about these days. Just a side note, because the lat does have so many points of origin, you'll hear people say things like the iliac lat, the costal lat, so on and so forth. Unlike the pec, we don't treat the lat as if it has separate heads, and so that aspect is a bit beyond the scope of this particular video, but absolutely something we can talk about in a future one. The next part in this series we'll be talking about the traps, so comment any specific things you want me to cover in that next video, and drop a follow to learn more about the science of training.